All right. So, for our first week of AP class semester 2, originally we were going to start school on Tuesday, but now Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday have been designated as these soft reopening days. So, I've just readjusted the week a little bit so that the content that I was going to cover one of these class days is just basically going to be your virtual day. And for those of you who are go-getters and want to get started on it early, then you're totally welcome to. So I've just kind of put it at the top of the week so you can start it whenever you are ready. But first thing I have is just a reminder of AP exam facts. So, for example, you, of course, I'm sure know that Wednesday, May 12th at 8 a.m., your presence will be required for the AP exam. That we have those two sections, the multiple choice section and the writing section. Writing is, of course, slightly more important. It's 55% of your score as opposed to the 45% of the multiple choice questions. So yeah, that's kind of the basics, just to remind you of our goals and what we're shooting for. And then thinking about the writing section, there's those 3 sections within the writing section within each essay that you guys have been learning about so far. There is the thesis point for each essay. It should be the easiest point that you get. And it's one of those where if you don't get it, it really ruins the entire rest of the rubric for you, basically. Makes it very difficult to do well on the essays. So a good thesis, a thesis that actually sets you up for success on the rest of the rubric, is going to take a very clear position on whatever issue it is they're having you take a position on, and it will lay out a line of reasoning. So the line of reasoning is something that a few of you have had trouble with, and that's kind of setting the foundation and setting the like the sections of your essay up so that the things that you establish in your line of reasoning, become your other kind of body paragraphs that you're trying to discuss and connect back to your thesis. So in the synthesis essay, whatever their topic is that they have presented to you, you need to take a clear position on that topic, and you need to talk about the factors that you are going to discuss in relation to the topic, and those relevant factors, whatever they are, that'll end up being your line of reasoning, how you organize your essay. The rhetorical analysis essay, a little different because you're analyzing someone else's argument. So your thesis will always be the author's purpose, whatever their message is that they're trying to convey. And then your line of reasoning will be the ways they do this, the ways they convey this purpose. So when I had you guys write some practice thesis statements for, let's see, this was back in like October, Superman and Me, some of you automatically gravitated towards a choice-driven line of reasoning, and some of you automatically gravitated towards a device-driven line of reasoning. And either one can work. There are pros and cons to each, and we'll talk about that more as we get into working on rhetorical analysis essays again. But essentially, you still want the same kind of general thing. What does the author do, and what are they trying to accomplish with what they're doing? And then the argument essay. They give you some sort of prompt. Your thesis takes a position on that prompt, on that topic. And your line of reasoning is your evidence to support your position. And this is the tricky part, is, knowing what to pull from and finding areas that you're familiar with in history, culture, personal experience, life, the universe in general, that you can use to support it. And making those, specific and well supported. All right, and then the evidence points, evidence and commentary. So this is the majority of your points for the writing section, but no matter how much wonderful evidence you put in there, if you do not establish a line of reasoning, you will not get more than half of the points in this category. So that's why the thesis point, even though you can write a bad thesis and still get the point, it's going to really bite you in this category, because it won't allow you to maximize your potential. So for the synthesis essay, they specify that you need at least 3 of their sources, and you have to provide commentary that connects that information that you're introducing back to your thesis, back to your position. And it has to be specific. So there should be a mix of direct and indirect information. Even if you're not providing quoted material from a particular source, you should provide specific details. They really hammer, going into the specific and then connecting it back to the big picture. Rhetorical analysis essay, you must analyze multiple rhetorical strategies. They say multiple, they don't specify a certain number. And of course, you have to connect those strategies again back to your thesis and say, here's what the author does and here is how it connects to their purpose. The argument essay also requires specific information. Again, doesn't specify how much information, and it can be from pretty much anything theoretically. There are obviously areas that it's a lot easier to provide specific high-quality information. History is a great place to go to, but you can use your own personal experience. You can use things that you have read. So, things like stuff that we've covered in class. It can be current. It's just really just whatever you want, as long as it is specific and, it connects back to your thesis once you provide commentary. Right. And then the sophistication point, the unicorn point. So it's really, really hard to get. And I have tried to be conservative in handing out this point, and tried to really hammer you guys on being, consistent and not just having one little nice sophisticated thing in the essay, but having an overall essay that is trying to develop this in multiple ways. So ways that you can achieve the sophistication point. There is the broader context strategy. So this one is most useful in the synthesis essay and the rhetorical analysis essay, that if you can provide some context, whether it's historical or whatever the case may be, then that can kind of help show off your understanding and your sophisticated understanding of that topic. Counter arguments are a great way to go. Most useful in the synthesis and argument essay. It's pretty difficult to do in rhetorical analysis because, you're analyzing how good the author is at presenting their argument, and usually they're not going to give you a bad argument. So other things that you can do throughout, though, your style in general. So I really tried to encourage some of you guys to amp up your word choice, use very intentional, attention-getting sentence structure, rhetorical questions. A few of you have even pulled out some real nice figurative language stuff, using metaphors and similes to help develop your own argument. So that's something you can do in any of the essays. Another thing that they really look for is just your organization and your transitions, making it feel very cohesive and flow very well is a sign of a sophisticated essay. And then, of course, smoothly incorporating textual evidence, which is obviously most important on the synthesis essay and the rhetorical analysis essay, because you're able to actually pull quoted material and incorporate it well, not big blocky chunks of text with no lead-in. That is not good. We don't like that. But, short, effective, well-incorporated quotes. So anyways, those are your reminders about what you're looking for on the AP exam, what you're trying to portray on the AP exam. I did also put the essay rubrics here again, in case you wanted to look at them in some more detail. And then for your first week, well, really first couple weeks, I've given you this challenge, the perfect paper. So looking back at all of your essays from last semester, I have selected the one for you that was the worst. It was rough. You maybe didn't even know what you were doing yet. For some of you, it was your very first, where things were just like a little bit of a mess. For some of you, it was just a later one where maybe you didn't understand exactly what was required of you, where you were just having an off day that day. But we're going to take the worst to the best. That is our goal. So what I did is I created a folder. See, right now it's titled Bad Essays. We're going to change this title once you guys fix them, though. And I have a Google document for each of you, and it has your particular essay that you'll be working on revising. And it has the prompt, and it also has, the essay that you wrote, the original essay that you wrote from last semester, so that you can see, oh Lord, what was I thinking? And you can fix those. So, anyways, your first task is going to be to take this nasty essay, and you are going to make it perfect so that it would not only get a 6 on the AP rubric, but it has the best word choice, the most effective sentence structure. It has all of the good grammar, punctuation, and spelling things. So those are all the things that I'll grade you on in terms of our skills-based grading. But of course, getting that 6 on the AP rubric is your kind of first and primary goal. So I have a link here to the grammar book and a page document if you need to kind of review any comma rules or anything like that. But yeah, that is your first mission. And my intention, hopefully I'll follow through on this, is to share these documents with you on the first day of school, which technically is Monday, January 4th, according to our soft reopening deadline. So yeah, as of Monday, you'll be able to kind of look and read over what you did back in the day and start fixing it. And I didn't make this due until next Friday, so not this Friday, but next Friday. So you have plenty of time to work it into perfection. So the only other thing that we'll be doing this week is for the one day that I have you guys in class, we'll get working on some daily edits again, start thinking about the ACT more, since I assume that will be coming up in your future. And we'll also do a progress check in class. So A-Day group will do the progress check on Thursday, and B-Day group will do it on Friday. So don't do it on your own. I have some things we're going to do aside from just like taking it to kind of start working through these and trying to start making some improvement now that you kind of know what you're up against in terms of multiple choice content. So that's it. Perfect paper, progress check. And if for some reason you're not going to be here on your one school day this week, let me know so I can talk about this progress check with you. And that will be all.